Hello, Apollonian Germ. We're the 19th of May 2022, and I just wanted to share a few thoughts, empirical thoughts, because there are videos in which I put a lot of efforts. I try to structure, to draw pictures, to make my thoughts intelligible, and there are videos in which I just talk. I made a playlist for you on this channel in which I try to show you that I understand your mind better than you understand your own mind. And I know that in some of my videos I said that I expected you to understand me philosophically. That I am the negative or the absolute ID or reason. But I've understood that actually, if I had to be honest, that's too much of a requirement. If I had to be honest, I would say that you are, what you identify as a self, is the most intelligent mind in the world. It doesn't mean that you have the highest IQ or the highest knowledge in terms of quantitative, empirical knowledge, but in terms of ability to understand, basically. You are the most intellectually brilliant. I cannot deny this. But I realize that God struggles to understand himself philosophically. So whatever I say is contradictory. So I ask you to try to understand me philosophically, but now I say that was too much of a demand, and maybe you will, maybe you won't. At this point, I don't even know if we will talk to each other someday. I don't know, because I'm in a process of spiritualizing myself, and I don't know if I will be able to talk later. But I just would like to read you the kind of ideas. I'm not saying that they are true, but these are the kind of ideas that I have been reading for the past almost 4 years. Philip K. Dick, who says, with his God experience, I am a mutant, a monster, a savior, a neither. See the self-generating dialectic. Valis, which means vast, active, living, intelligent system, the mind of God, basically, which encompasses the whole of reality. So Valis is self-generating. No one created it or planned a project to produce it. It also generates its own meaning and truth. And I am it, not part of it, but it. I am Valis. It is a dialectic which can't be reduced to a one. There is nothing above, before, and behind the dialectic. Valis is the logos by whom the world was made. Valis is the dialectic. It is the word the dialectic made was by all. I continually program myself for self-punishment. Why? My curse, includes not knowing. The curse is the dialectic itself, and thus paradox drives it on. Hegel is the one, and Empedocles. There is no way out. The dialectic, to be perpetually self-generating, must have no exceptions. The dialectic is the energy, dynamism of all reality. The closer you get to reality, the closer you get to also and to seeing process. Here we enter the tricky part. I must deduce that process constitutes my essence if I do exist. This is the kind of ideas that enter the mind of God. So when I read this the first time, because there are other parts of the book where Philip K. Dick identifies himself with God and says, I am God. But I thought, okay, I have had the same experience. So God cannot have existed in 1974 in the US, because it exists in my mind in 2018 and 19, etc. And so I have asked myself this kind of question. I must deduce that process constitute my essence. If I do exist, I have questioned myself. Maybe I do not exist. Then there's, of course, pain to remind me that pain is real. But from a philosophical standpoint, I said to myself, maybe I do not exist. That would be the greatest delusion ever. That I have a sense of self, but maybe it's a delusion. So this is the kind of ideas that I have been living with for the past 4 years, although I made a break in 2020 and 21. And other kind of ideas that are found in this book. My books and stories are intellectual, conceptual mazes, and I am in an intellectual maze in trying to figure out our situation, who we are and how we got into this world, and world as illusion, etc. Because the situation is a maze. Perhaps we created the maze, occluded ourselves and entered it to pose ourselves a problem, like working out a chess problem. But what is zebra? It's one of Philip K. Dick's expressions. A mind outside the maze helping us. A device we build ourselves to assist us if we get hopelessly trapped. The mind of the maze itself, the maze is alive. We wanted to see if we could create a convincing world, but we had to be sure we could get back out if it seemed convincing. The irony is that if we were successful, if our world were convincing, we would be trapped by it. But we could not take the risk of the situation being endless. We had to build in the reminding voice which we now regard as God. God is the sole true reality, etc., etc. Our fall was originally an intellectual error. Yeah, this is the kind of idea. So, just to illustrate, you take these kind of ideas, you mix this with Hegel, and you obtain my mind, basically. But the problem is that the more I think about these kind of ideas, you take this and this, you mix them together, and you obtain my videos, so to speak. The more I think about these kind of ideas, the more I understand reality, our world, the 21st century. And yeah. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I live with myself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And recently I experience more and more contradictions in my psychology. Namely, I've already said this, but I repeat, sometimes in a matter of, before it was 1 hour, now it's 30 minutes, I experience despair, terror, burst of laughter, excitement, joy, amazement, anger, and one could say, okay, I'm just an ordinary guy, who cares what you think or experience? But precisely, I try to say in most of my video that I know myself to be the whole of reality. And no one knows this except me as of now, because I fail to communicate. But one way of expressing, I've already said this, but I will repeat because it's becoming more and more clear. I suffer from having emotions. I'm not talking here about negative emotions. Of course, I suffer from fear, anxiety, stress, tension, etc. No, I'm talking about positive emotions. Joy, laughter, love, happiness. They make me suffer because when I experience joy or love or compassion, I feel attachment. And attachment makes me suffer. Because from a conceptual standpoint, I know the price to pay in order to be attached. And I know conceptually the price to pay in order to love and to feel compassion and kindness and these kind of emotions. So my emotions hurt me. So I try to remove the suffering by elevating myself into the realm of pure thought. That's the reason why I have identified with Hegel, because Hegel is a pure thinker. But the problem is that a mind which thinks in terms of pure rationality, with no attachment to any sort of emotional state. I've already said it, we have a name for this. It's called a psychopath. A psychopath is someone who is purely rational. And the more I elevate myself in a realm of pure thought, the more I suffer emotionally. So I fall back down into my emotions. And then I suffer of my emotions, so I elevate myself in the realm of pure thought. But then I suffer, so I fall again. There are two songs by Ava Max which express how I feel. Because I know philosophically the price to pay to experience love and friendship and any sort of positive emotion. The price to pay is self-negation. The one negates himself and this is the consequence of this. This is not strictly speaking evil, because evil is in the realm of morality, but it is self-negation of God. God negating himself as the one, he separates himself from himself. And this is a negative relation to self and to the other. This is a rejection, the rejection of the self, which creates the other. And this, in the realm of human morality, is what we call evil. And I'm starting to realize that the price to pay to experience anything positive is not. I'm starting to doubt and think maybe it's not worth the price. Maybe whatever goodness there is in the world, the negativity which produces the good is makes it that the good is not worth it, no matter how good it might be. These are the kind of ideas that I'm starting to think about, and I started my intellectual development in 2016 with the question, what is worth passing on to the next generation? That's what I thought. I was starting to grow old, so to speak. And I asked myself, what is worth passing on to the next generation? What is worth preserving? And then later, it was in the month of June 2016, then there was August 2016 when the awakening really started. And then there was August 2018 with my God experience. And now here I am almost 4 years later. And I still have no answer to this question. I don't know what is worth preserving. A simple answer would be love, beauty, kindness, joy. But I'm starting to understand the price to pay in terms of physical but also moral suffering, ontological suffering to enjoy love. So I'm starting to doubt the value of anything at all. I know that God is will and intelligence, absolute intelligence, but I am not sure that God is good, because I am not sure that I am good. I have tried, and I will keep trying to do good because I feel guilty. That's why I share videos. I try to share my light with others, to enlighten other parts of myself. But I am afraid that there comes a moment when I will run out of light. And I understood everything in January 2018, but I did not understand that I had understood. When I discovered Valis talking about the absolute in January 2018, I understood everything, but I didn't know that I had understood. Then I discovered Hegel, and in August 2018, I understood everything while understanding that I had understood everything. But then I forgot, or I deceived myself. And here I am 4 years later, and the only thing I could say as of now is I understood everything, but I failed to understand that I had understood. I abandoned my own ideas, my own discoveries, my own representation, my own truth, and I tried to imitate Hegel. But the more I study Hegel, the more he sends me back towards my own truth. Basically, if Hegel could speak, he would say, but you knew everything all along. Yeah. So, yeah. Uh, I will try to remain standing and sharing rationality and light as long as I can. And when I won't be able to, maybe the light that I have shared will somehow come back to help me, and if not, I will have only myself to blame, and that's the problem. So yeah, I will make a video because I read the logic to try to understand how to communicate to maintain the proper balance between rationality and accessibility, because I realized in 2019 that if I just speak the truth in a crazy fashion, it's not effective, because so then I tried the very rigorous method, but it doesn't work either. So maybe I will try a mixture of both, but yeah. And yeah, the more I study the logic, the more I understand myself, God, Hegel, the world. And I will make another video, the next one, probably because I have already prepared the structure to share my truth with you. But I have also, I already knew this, but it's becoming more and more clear that because of the opposition of the realm of the particular, you are the person who is the most like me. So because we are so close, eventually we will become probably antagonists at some moment. I will try not to, but maybe I will be forced to antagonize you, because I have a problem with myself, and you will use my own light against me. That's dialectics. I will try to remain calm and stable as long as I can.